Welcome to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you see Heinz Field, big crowd there, and they're leaving happy today because the Steelers recorded their first win at home this year. A much-needed win overall after 3 straight losses, 27-19, that final, and it went down to the very end. Steelers now move to 2 wins and 3 losses. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Extra Point Show. Bob Pompeani and Hoke Pro 76. Chris Hoke here in studio. Didn't have to get that dramatic. No. I was a little surprised on 4th down and 1. They kicked that extra field. I thought they may just go for it and try to end it at that point, but they didn't. They got the 3 points, which you understand made it a one-possession, 8-point game, yes. But Denver almost had that opportunity.
Everything had to go perfect for the Broncos to get back in this game, right? Have to drive the ball 75 yards and then also get the 2-point conversion. Tomlin was betting on that. Boswell making that field goal and going up by 8. But if you would have gone for that, Bob, on that 4th and 1, the Broncos had no more timeouts, only a 2-minute warning. That game would have been over if they would have converted. As you know, the Steelers at times struggle to run the ball in short yardage, but not today, which surprised me.
Not me. I've been calling for this for the last 3 weeks. Run the ball, run the ball. Najee Harris ran the ball. They got, I think the offensive line, you have to admit, gets a little bit more confidence in a run game. He goes over 100 yards. Now at the end, he got injured there, which was, you don't know exactly what that was. We'll find out. But Najee Harris was terrific in this game today, and he's been terrific all season long. I'm glad to see them utilize that run game, and hopefully that'll continue. Ben Roethlisberger was spot on when he had to be as well. He made some big throws at big times, and bottom line is they got the win when they needed it the most.
I was so impressed with this offensive line. They've gotten better week after week. Now in week 5, they're playing physical. And what I like is they're playing double teams, the guys up front, climbing to the backer. They're getting a hat on a hat. And if you can get a hat on a hat just for a split second and give Najee an opportunity to get a full head of steam, he, as you saw today, is going to get a lot of yardage. He's going to get 4, 5, 6 yards on 1st down and put these guys in 2nd down and put them in 3rd and short. And that's manageable for this offense right now. And you look at, I loved the offensive game plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of bunch sets, which is a bunch set where you have 3 receivers just outside the edge of the offensive line and the tight end, which allows them to create space in some of their pass routes, but also makes it easier for them to run the ball now. There's some ways they can creatively get Chase Claypool inside to make some blocks and get the ball to Najee for some positive yardage.
And Najee Harris had 89 yards at halftime rushing the football. And when you do that, good things happen. He started the second half with a big 17-yard run that was made possible because of big blocks by Pat Freiermuth and also Cody White in the game. But again, the offensive line was more engaged because of this. And then you saw the 1-yard touchdown as he leaps into the end zone. He's got so much God-given ability. And the fact is he also came into this game leading the NFL in forced missed tackles, which is to say that every time somebody looks to line him up, he somehow gets away. And we saw that after that 17-yard run as he broke some ankles on a couple of Denver players as well. He has that ability. I would say utilize it even more, not less, but hopefully the injury situation, Chris, will not be a bad one for him. And Juju Smith-Schuster, who looked really much in pain, that could be a shoulder, a clavicle, a forearm, an arm.
That could be a devastating injury for the Steelers. But we talk about Najee some more. And it's not just Najee, but it's the offensive line. It's the mentality. When you run the ball and you run it over and over and over again, you get 4 yards, you get 6 yards, you get 5 yards. But then you break the 17-yarder. Then you break the 11-yarder. And it's a mentality. Now you're making this defense or any opponent really play physical. You're falling on the ground. You're getting back up. It's a bruising to your body rather than just throwing the ball over the place and you're not falling on the ground. So I love the mentality of the Pittsburgh Steelers playing smash mouth football. This is the recipe for this team with an older Ben Roethlisberger that can't take the hitting right now, can't take all these hits. Give the ball to Najee. He's a rookie, and he can take those blows.
And we saw it right in the very first possession. 6 yards, Harris, run. 3 yards, run. Second down short, they convert. Then it opens up the pass game to the point, Deontay Johnson, 50 yards. And, of course, Juju Smith-Schuster is a big part of this. They've had injuries to a lot of people. He left this game, and he was in a lot of pain as he took a hit. And it was in the open field down low, but his arm got compromised. You can see the facial expression there as John Norwood looks at his right forehand or forearm or arm or elbow or who knows. But those pictures tell me that this is going to be something that's going to keep him out for a while and hopefully not the rest of the season. But you never know how these things are diagnosed.
And I'll be interested to see what the injury actually is because it seemed to me like it was some kind of bone in the arm area, whether it was above the elbow, below the elbow. He was in a lot of pain. And now you're saying Burt Lawton from the Steelers, the PR man, said that this is a shoulder. So we'll see on Tuesday when Coach Tomlin talks about it what that injury actually is. But whatever it is, this is devastating. Juju has been a guy who's moved the chains for the Steelers to this point in the season and a big part of that offense.
Yes, indeed. And they need him. They need all the guys. Claypool was back in there, went over 130 yards. He got a big 59-yard completion. And the other thing we saw today, and I think it's attributable to the run game, is you saw some slants in the middle of the field. We haven't seen a lot of the middle of the field, but that one big pass to Claypool late in the game where he got it and got some extra yards as a result.
I think Matt Canada's listening to you on the radio, on the postgame show here and throughout the week. Yeah. Bob's saying, throw the ball to the middle of the field.
And run it.
And run the ball. And they're doing exactly what Bob says. I think they need to put Bob in the booth. But Bob's right. Yeah. Listen, when you can attack a defense and do what the Steelers did with these quick slants, give the ball to these receivers when they're in full steam ahead, when they're in dead sprints. And that's what they did with Deontay Johnson, able to give the ball and chase Claypool. And then they can run with the ball and do what they do best. They're playmakers. And that's what the play calling did today for these guys and gave the Steelers an opportunity to put up 27 points in this game, which is more than they put up in a long time.
And a couple of plays that will go unnoticed, but to me were big in this game, as it turned out, because it was a one-possession game. Number one, Jamespierre, who had to track down Javonte Williams on a big 49-yard run he had. If it wasn't for his hustle and effort, he was well behind the play. He caught up to Javonte Williams, tackled him. It forced the defense, which then got a sack by Devin Bush. They had to settle for 3 points. That was big. I also thought Chase Claypool with a heads-up play when they needed to kill as much time as they could. He made a catch. He stayed inbounds, went down, gave himself up to keep the clock running. Those are little things, Chris, but I think it says a lot about where their head is in this game. They know what to do. And Pierre never quit on that play.
I'm glad you pointed that play out, because at the time it was 10-3 when Jamespierre ran him down. It was 3rd and 1, right? And Javonte Williams ran the ball down, and he stayed with it. He stayed with it and brought down the big fella, and he was able to save a blade of grass. And you saw what the Steelers did, a big sack, right? And then they pushed him back to make a long field goal, and that made it 10-6 rather than 10-10 early in the second quarter. Major difference in this game. That's something that's a hidden yardage, hidden points that we don't talk about.
Now, Devin Bush did come up with a sack on that one play, but largely the pass rush was not that effective today against this team, and this is a team that had some problems allowing sacks. We didn't see that today, and I'm a little stunned by that. I thought for sure a guy like T.J. Watt would come off and make some big plays today. He was out there, but you didn't notice him in big play situations. Yeah. What was the situation? Why weren't they getting to the quarterback?
What I noticed was, even when Devin Bush got to the quarterback, he came wide open. It's 2 weeks in a row where he's gotten sacks where the ocean's open for him. He able to blast through there and get a sack and untouched. But you look at the only one that won a one-on-one today and got a sack was Mondu. Henry Mondu for his first sack in the NFL. T.J. Watt largely was ineffective in his pass rush today. You didn't see anything from Highsmith, really anything to speak of from Melvin Ingram. They need to get pressure on the quarterback. I saw today, Bob, they tried to take advantage of those outside rushers. They would take Isaiah Buggs off the field. They would take all the other defensive tackles and only leave Cam Hayward in there. And they would also put T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Melvin Ingram in there and try to get those 3 guys moving around and rushing. They couldn't get pressure either. So that's got to be a concern for the Steelers, because coming into this game, they were only 22nd in the NFL in total sacks.
Another thing I thought was interesting in this game, and at the time, I always like to take 15-yard penalties. 2 questions for you. So Tremont Jones on a Chris Boswell field goal attempt, which was good, he leaps over a guy. Now, to me, I don't like that rule. I don't think that's a fair rule. And if it is, if you're going to call it a penalty, 15 yards, that seems like an awful big penalty.
Anyway, it was 4th 11, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got an automatic first down, and I understand you take the points off the board. However, right after that, incomplete pass. And then they take a timeout, and I'm thinking, not only are they not giving up time here, they're saving time for Denver, but they're going to waste a timeout and end up with a field goal anyway. But it turned out that on 3rd and 10, it was Ben Roethlisberger to chase Claypool. What about that call, that penalty? Do you like that call?
I thought I saw
you're trying to block a field goal.
I think it's a bad call. I think that's got to be removed from the game. And I don't think you should call in that situation, because it didn't look to me like he really used the offensive line to prop himself up. And you saw the same thing happen on that last field goal that made it an 8-score game. And so right now, that really hurt the Broncos there in this game, because they held them to a field goal, and that brought them closer to this game. Now that 7 points made it much more difficult there. You saw it into the game, those 4 points, for them to go down and score and try to win.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with him taking the penalty, Mike Tomlin, because you got 15 yards of first down. That's fine. It just looked to me at the time like, this was not going to work out the way plus you burn a timeout, which, as it turned out, was a good timeout, because it led to the call which was, I thought Ben Roethlisberger did a good job on that touchdown to Chase Claypool in that he used his eyes to move a safety. He does that very well, and the little things go unnoticed. But as he did, that allowed for some space for Claypool, and there was still heavy traffic there, and Roethlisberger put it right on the money for that touchdown. Number 402 of his career second today.
And what I saw today from Ben was that he was much more comfortable in the pocket. Last week, all we saw was he was panicking. He was really hurried in how he was playing the game, and he was just trying to get it out. Today, he was much more relaxed, much more patient, and able to step out into the pocket on that 50-yard touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson. Really stepped up and drove that ball down. Again, 2 weeks in a row, a 45-yarder last week, a 50-yarder today on the first drive. Those are what you need from these Steelers to start the games fast.
The other thing, I was surprised at the beginning that Joe Haeg did not get to start over Chooks or Okorafor. Chooks got called for a penalty. I thought he was moving a little quickly at times out there. But overall, your assessment of him and the offensive line?
Well, I thought they did a pretty good job. Ben, for the most part, was clean. He got hit a couple times, and those were brutal hits. But overall, if you run the football, it slows down the pass rush, and that's what happened today. Chooks Okorafor, he's going to play. He's going to start at that right tackle. They believe in him for right now. They believe he's the best guy they have. And even the Colonel, Haeg, he played well last week, but that's not how the Steelers roll. They're not going to take a guy out just because another guy came in and due to injury. They're going to let Chooks play and let him roll the rest of the season unless it's very obvious that he just cannot get the job done.
All right, now a little pet peeve of mine, Chris. I want to see if it's your pet peeve too. Steelers are up 17-6. They stopped Denver. They have a minute 37 left before halftime, and they're deep in their own territory, but they have 2 timeouts. I'm pedal to the metal. I want to get more points out of this. And they were very sloppy, sluggish. They wasted a lot of time. Then they end up taking a timeout. It just seemed like they weren't in any rush to score more points. And to me, again, this proves it. In a game like this, Denver comes back and almost wins. If you look back at that and you say, well, it's nothing, they're leading by 11 at halftime. Well, what if you get 3 more points out of it and don't waste timeouts? Those are things that I think that are important, but as it turned out, it did not hurt them. All right, Mike Tomlin is addressing the media. We're live with that. We're going to take you to Heinz Field right now to hear from Mike Tomlin.
In all 3 phases to produce it. It was not without its challenges, but that's what we expect on this Sunday level of football. But we needed this one today. Obviously, it was a big one, and the guys responded in a big way from start to finish, man. I just like the way we came out of the locker room and just continued to fight and compliment one another. The offense got started fast. We needed that. The defense supported the offense when we turned the ball over and got a stop and made them settle for a field goal. We needed that. We hadn't done that. We were able to finish strong at the end, offensively drive the length of the field, kick a field goal. On defense, obviously get stout there with our backs up against it. So, man, it's a lot to build upon, hopefully, as we move forward, but not looking big picture at all, just what we were able to do today. I'm appreciative of that. Had a couple of injuries. Devin Bush had a groin. Juju Smith-Schuster had a shoulder injury. He's being evaluated at the hospital. I'm sure I'll have some more information for you guys. We had a couple guys cramping and so forth, Najee, just the regular bumps and bruises associated with play. I'll pause for questions.
Mike, you were able to do the power run game. Is that something you felt that you guys could do against this specific front? Again, it's not about the people we were playing, and we kind of talked about that at the early portions of the week. I felt our running game coming together last week. But because of the nature and how the game was unfolding, we weren't able to have the volume of runs to kind of reflect that. We minimized negativity a week ago. The power was falling forward. We had hats on hats, and I think what we were able to do today was just a continuation of that. And so, hopefully that's encouraging from a big picture perspective.
Mike, was Jamespierre's day kind of how shows you how a cornerback in this league has to have a short memory on stuff?
Just young guys, Man, he stayed in the fight, man. Young guys, they're going to come after you. They're going to get some plays. You're going to have to make some plays. It's an education of a corner in the National Football League. I appreciate his mentality. He was tough-minded about it and stayed in the fight. I appreciate some of the veteran leadership that he has and support that he has. A guy like Joe Hayden talking you through those moments and helping you through a football game is significant. And I just, can't say enough about Joe's efforts in terms of nurturing him and helping him grow in those ways as well.
How big was this play tracking down Williams in the long run to save you guys 4 points?
Big time. Big time. Big time hustle play.
I'm sorry. You talked last week about the absence of chunk plays, but you were able to get some today. How significant was it?
It is. It helps us. It eliminates a lot of execution. Less third downs you have to convert, for example. And so, chunk plays when we're clicking historically here, it's a component of our play, and it was today, and we needed it, and we're appreciative.
Mike, the tinkering you did with the dime, what were you hoping to get out of that, and did it work?
Dime personnel defensively, we were just spreading Cam Sutton's work around among a group of people as opposed to putting it on one person. When you're playing with some guys that are working in expanded roles that still have their special teams responsibility, for example, it's good to kind of spread the workload, and that's simply what we were doing, leaning on the individual strengths in terms of their style of play, but just largely spreading the work around in an effort to minimize the absence of Cam Sutton.
What about up front, though, in that package with Alex, TJ, and Melvin all in there at the same time? What kind of made you guys want to try that out?
We know all three of those guys are rush capable, but, very rarely have we had all three guys going into a game or from a preparation of a game standpoint. I think Buffalo was the last time that we went into a game like that. So, that's something that we have been intent on getting to, but you need a player availability to make that happen. And so we had a good week with all three guys, talking about 98 and 56, and so we utilized all three of them on those possession downs in an effort to get a top-quality rush.
Mike, how much of a success from that unit? I think they were 1 for the first 10 on third down.
It was collective. It was rush and coverage. They were committed to protecting their passer. The running back and the tight end was in a bunch on third down, but we didn't mind that because if Fan is protecting, then he's not running routes, and we were okay with that. But it was a combination of both, and largely it had to do with because of how they chose to play. They were trying to neutralize our four-man rush with tight ends and running backs, and so that gave us advantage in the routes, if you will, 7 versus 3 vertical runners, and so we were able to win a lot of those possession downs.
Mike, how much of a confidence booster was this for the offensive line, keeping Ben upright and also opening up holes for Najee?
Time will tell that story.
Mike, there was the sequence. Ben called timeout, 3rd and long. And then was there something he saw and then something you guys saw when you came back out of the timeout and hit Claypool for the TD?
Yeah, but, we're not going to delve into the intimacies of the conversations that we have.
Mike, it did look like you got real exotic with Miller, and yet you were able to contain him. Is that because you were running the ball, or is that on Chooks?
What's that?
Von Miller, keeping him kind of contained.
More than anything, you're not going to eliminate this guy, but you minimize his impact on the game by staying out of negative circumstance. And largely we were able to do that because we were running the ball. At times we got in negative circumstances because of penalties. Penalty here, penalty there, false start, holding, things of that nature. And that's when we were really in danger, to be quite honest with you, when we were behind the chains. And so we worked really hard to just stay out of them circumstances first and foremost.
Football, your offense was 7 of 12 on third downs, a lot of big conversions, especially from Ben. What went into their success on those plays today?
Again, like I mentioned, we were on schedule. If you looked at the down and distances of those conversions, they were very manageable ones.
You mentioned the run game. Looking at Najee Harris this season as a whole, the way that he's been able to build, what do you like about his evolution just as a rookie getting out there and getting more run?
It's like I talked about on Wednesday. He's getting better every week, but I think that's a reasonable expectation. We're talking about a guy who has some talent, obviously, but who's getting acclimated to the professional game. The learning experience is what it is. He's a sharp guy. He's learning quickly. And so it's reasonable to expect him to continue to put together increasingly better performances, particularly in the short term.
When you were asked on Tuesday who you had to watch out for on Denver's offense, you mentioned Fant specifically, and he didn't do a whole lot today. What went into that?
They chose to protect the pocket with him, particularly on those possession downs. If you go back and look at third downs, oftentimes he was in the core and off the ball, and we identify that as protection first, and so he wasn't getting out clean. And so you got to make decisions from time to time, and so, they came into this game with a quarterback that was coming out of the protocol, and, they got sacked 5 times last week. I think they got sacked 7 times last time they were here. So they made some decisions. We expected them to. And so, that comes at a cost. It's risk-reward.
Can you pinpoint one thing offensively that I think Denver is allowing 12 points a game? You guys had 27 that allowed you that success today?
No, I just thought we played better. We played more efficiently like we've been talking about. If you could pinpoint one thing, we'd have solved this problem weeks ago.
Guys, 2 more.
Was there anything Denver did in the fourth quarter that allowed them to get kind of back in it with that desperation?
They had a big play.
Obviously, you guys came in frustrated those last 3 weeks. How confident are you can use this win as a springboard to?
Time will tell the story. We're appreciative of our efforts and the win we got today, but those type perspectives and things of that nature will be revealed to us as we continue to play.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, Mike Tomlin after the game. The not so good news, of course, injuries. Devin Bush joins the groin gang. He has a groin injury, but Juju Smith-Schuster being evaluated at the hospital. So again, this would, look like more serious in nature, and you wonder because he's a big part of, especially a third down possession game and what he's evolved into. That's a big component of this offense.
And he brings a physical element to your pass game, right? You give him the ball on third down, he breaks tackles most of the time and gets to that and moves the chains. But Devin Bush too, it's the rotation, right? It's the depth at inside linebacker position. You saw Robert Spillane come in today and play early in this game, earlier than we're typically we're seeing him in previous games. So with Devin Bush out now with that groin injury, how is that going to affect the rotation there? Are these guys going to wear down late in the game that we didn't see today?
All right, we're going to take a break here. More post-game reaction coming up from Heinz Field following the first Steelers win of the year at home. Gets them to 2 wins and 3 losses, and couple that with a Green Bay overtime win at Cincinnati. It's a big one for the Steelers in the AFC North. We continue our coverage live right here on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
2-touchdown performance, a 120 passer rating for Ben Roethlisberger, who speaks right now.
I don't know that. I wish I could give you a better percentage, so I don't want to say a wrong number, but there's a very high percentage of those runs today from the shotgun especially were RPOs, and we probably had some of the throws, but I take it out of his hand when it's just when you're grinding it and you're getting it, and it was fun to watch him kind of excel and take over. And I thought Benny came in at the end of the game, ran the ball really hard, KB too, so I'm happy for Naj, really am. I'm sorry.
Is that ability to go to the run, does that keep you pressure?
It's just different types of offense. That's all.
And the 59-yarder to Claypool. Did you anticipate Miller on him based on your formation? Did you see that pre-snap, and did you attack that specifically?
That actual play was kind of designed to go to Naj on a linebacker. Was kind of the first read, and so they rotated a corner down at the last minute. Kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye and took me off of that because the whole time I was just watching. I didn't realize Bond was on him at first, so the whole time I was watching who was going to guard Naj, who had him, and inside leverage, outside leverage, was a safety coming. So I was over there the whole time, and once they rolled to the kind of a cover 2 on that side, it brought my eyes right back over and chases the first read on that side, and just so happened to get him the ball in space, and he's going to make something happen.
And just against Miller in general, it didn't look like you guys chipped him much. You didn't have 3 guys blocking him.
Well, we still had chips. I mean, we did have chips over there. We weren't going to sacrifice our whole by putting extra tight ends and extra guys over there. We asked Chooks to do a job against one of the best pass rushers in the game and one of the better ones of all time, and I thought he did a great job tonight.
Ben, on one of those runs that you mentioned, did you use less motion this game than other games, and does it make a difference at all?
No, I don't know about less. We had some motions, under center, some stuff. It's kind of one of those things when you can stay on schedule. We were able to stay on schedule. Picking up positive yards on first down always helped. Some of the stuff from the gun, there maybe was some less, but there was still plenty of motion under center, the jet stuff.
Getting that lead and being able to build on it in the third quarter, what does that kind of do for your offense?
Well, it's encouraging. Obviously we would have liked to have stayed on the field at the end of the game, to finish it. We were able to go out and get points, which is big. 3's not ideal, but it got us to a point that we were okay with. But, I told the guys before that drive, I said, listen, we either end the game on the field or we score points. Next time I'll try to be more specific with how many points. But, that was a good drive. I'm not sure how much time we used, but it was a decent amount and went down the field, and kind of everyone contributed in that drive.
Power running, third down conversions, and you hit some deep shots. Is that how this offense has to perform to be at its best?
I think it helps. I don't know stats. I don't know the numbers, but it felt like we were converting a lot of third downs. I'd love to know what our yards on first down were. That's big. When you can get 3, 4, 5 yards on first down, it makes those third downs much more manageable. And I felt like we were in manageable third downs today.
Ben, what went to your touchdown pass to Claypool? It looked like you might have looked off Kareem Jackson. Was that what happened?
Yeah, it was a Coach Canty, a heck of a play call. We had something set up. We put Chase on the inside. It was actually a double move outside to Deontay, and they kind of slacked off him, and there were 2 high safeties, and I knew Chase was going down the middle, so the best thing I could do is try and keep the safety left for a little as long as I could, and just try and deliver it close to where he can make a play, and he did the rest. The line gave me great time.
And what did you see on the touchdown to Deontay on that opening drive? It looked pretty similar to the one you guys had a week ago against the Packers.
No, different play call. We just had a go route, got inside, and he faded out and made a great play. What an awesome play by him. He's a great football player.
And then you talk about RPOs with a lot of the run. Are you just count the guys in the box, or you just have a feel that this play might work?
Oh, Mark, I can't give you our secrets because then they'll figure it out. But there's a lot more involved. There are a lot of things involved. Box counts and safeties down one way or another. Sometimes just a look. So there's a lot more involved than just kind of which one you're going to do.
Ben, I don't know if you were able to get some yards after the catch on some of those quick slants and whatnot, which you hadn't been getting. Any difference today? Anything they do that made that happen?
I think guys just stepped up and made plays. I think a lot of that, obviously Chase's was big. Deontay in that last drive. Probably not the most ideal. Dobbs was telling me on the headset that the coaches were like, it's not there, he's not going to throw it, he's not going to throw it. Josh was like, he's going to throw it. And sure enough, got it to him. And when you get the ball to a guy like that in space, and sometimes space doesn't have to be a lot, it can be a crack, and he's going to make something fun happen. And, that's just guys making plays. And I told them going in that we obviously, thinking about Juju and, Chase wasn't getting many reps in the second half. And, we needed guys to step up and make plays, and guys did that. And that's what I think I'm most proud about.
Ben, why was the line better today?
Yeah, lots of guys making plays today. Ben Roethlisberger was one of them. That touchdown pass to Chase Claypool, I thought was all him, basically. He looked the safety off. Kareem Jackson went to a spot that he knew Chase Claypool was going to, and it turned out to be the second of the day. And for the day, by the way, Ben Roethlisberger, 15 of 25, 253, 2 touchdowns, 120-point now. And now, let's take a look at the JP Roofing final stats, Chris, and you can delve into these.
Yeah, one thing that stands out to me here are the rush attempts. 35 rush attempts by the Steelers for 147 yards. I mean, that's more than we've seen in a couple years. Najee Harris ran for 5.3 yards average per rush. And you look here, what you don't see, at the bottom you see time of possession, but really what is not seen there is the third down. Offensively, the Steelers were 7 of 12 for 58% converting on third down, and the defense held the Broncos 2 to 12 for 16%. That's why you're seeing time of possession at 33 for the Steelers, about right there, a 7-minute lead.
Chase Claypool had a big day, 5 receptions, 130 yards, and that big touchdown. He's now live at Heinz Field.
Put in, and we moved a couple people around, put them in the right spots, and I think I knew Ben was coming to me, and Ben knew he was coming to me as well. So just had to go make a play.
The idea he'd have to take a shot to pull that play off.
For that play, yeah, I mean, he put it in a good spot, and sometimes that's the bad things that happen in touchdowns, you take a little shot, but it wasn't too bad.
Washington out and Juju hurt early. How important was it for you to get a game like this under your belt today, and how about the rest of the season?
Yeah, definitely. We were a little thin out there, so making sure I was in there and trying to help out all the receivers. Deontay going basically every snap, trying to get some reps off his legs. He did a really good job today. So yeah, it's important to. If you can go, make sure you go.
Was the catch pass you caught for the big gain across the middle, cutting across like that? How good did that feel? Because there hasn't been a lot of that this season.
Yeah, we talked about big chunk plays, so to be able to get that chunk play, it eliminates a lot of execution needed. That's what Coach Tomlin talked about earlier in the week. We did that a lot throughout these games, chunk plays, and that makes everyone's job a lot easier.
There's been a lot of discussion about the offensive line. Can you speak the way they've played and the improvement that they've made here over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think the improvement was seen first in Green Bay with the run game, first down run game, and then it carried over to this game. The ability to get the running game going opens up the pass game, and I think we saw both sides of that today. So super excited for the linemen making that step forward.
The fourth quarter, your reps were limited, or you have a new injury or an aggravation or something?
No, it's just no new injury. Just trying to be smart. Yeah.
Second second straight game you guys have scored a touchdown, your opening drive. What do you attribute those faster starts to?
I think that's what we emphasized all throughout the week because we knew that was something that we lacked was a fast start. So we always talk about the fast start. We practice that way, and I think it's been carrying over, but fast start is something we've been talking about.
Chase, earlier in the week when we talked with Canty, where he said that you needed to just go out there and get a win. What does a win like this, especially with where you were at before this game, do for you guys? Yeah,
Hayward and Coach Canty said the same thing. Doesn't matter if we win 80-79 or 3-2. A win's a win, and it gives us momentum moving into next week, and it makes us feel better about everything. So, doesn't matter how we got it. We got the win, and it builds confidence.
Chase Claypool is like having another tight end. He's built that way. He runs that way, just like Freiermuth. They have some physical receivers, which is why Juju Smith-Schuster is so important to them. And then you complement that with the speed of a Deontay Johnson. All those guys are important. James Washington, he's out with an injury. They got to get healthy, and there's a bye week coming up after next week. If they somehow can get to 3-3, it would be helpful to get everybody.
Huge after being 1-3 and how everybody was down last week, and can win 2 in a row would be big for the Steelers. But what I like about this offense, they have some serious weapons, Bob. If Ben can get the ball, Najee, he's so hard to bring down. He's carrying people with him, stiff arming people. Deontay Johnson, so electric with the ball in his hands. Chase Claypool, he get the ball. You saw him take that crossing pattern, take it down the sideline for 40-plus yards. This receiving core and the eligibles on this offense are so electric, so exciting. Ben just got to get in their hands and be able to give them opportunities to run, and you're going to see a lot of points put on the board the rest of the season.
And this is what I've been waiting for. 35 rushes, only 25 passes. This is the recipe right here.
There's no question.
It is. All right, we got to take a break, come back with more reaction from Heinz Field. The Steelers win 27-19, move their record to 2-3. The Bengals lost at home. The Browns are losing right now. The Ravens play tomorrow. Football is in high gear, baby.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
Bob Pompeani and Chris Hoke hanging out with you here on Pittsburgh CW. Let's update some of the scores. The Green Bay Packers beat Cincinnati in overtime. Bengals gave them a fight, 25-22. That helps the Steelers. Tennessee beats the winless Jaguars. They got problems down there. Urban Meyer on and off the field, 37-19 your final. Cleveland has just taken the lead over the Chargers, 10-7. That one in the second game out there in L.A. And it's rare to get two 25-22 finals in the same day. The Packers game was one, but also New England 25, Houston 22. That's a weird score.
Weird score. But that's a big loss right there for the Bengals, for the Steelers to make up a game there on them. Still 1.5 back from the Bengals. And hopefully, we're hoping and rooting for the Steelers to catch up again. The Browns, if they can lose out there in L.A. against a really good Chargers team, that would let them gain a game on them. The Ravens, they should win this week and tomorrow night on Monday Night Football.
Against the Colts, but you never know. Right now, Jamespierre, who made a nice interception at the end of the game, got burned, but he kept hustling. And I think Mike Tomlin called it one of the bigger plays when he chased down Javonte Williams and saved 4 points, as it turned out. Let's hear from him right now.
Plays before I had bad, even though you have other plays in the midst, my eyes was bad, so I got on the phone with Coach. We talked the little tips, details, keep my eyes on the receiver. That's all it was.
Isn't that kind of odd to ask you to single cover their deep threat at that time of the game?
Not really. We just getting after him. Coach kept that same mentality, getting after him. Next man up, same mentality,
What's your mindset chasing the running back down the field the way you do?
My mindset was for the team. So I seen Joe running, so I did the same thing Joe was doing.
James, you kind of went on a tough road to get to this point. To be able to make those type of plays in this type of game, what does that mean to you? The opportunities then become through it.
It don't really mean too much, It doesn't matter anymore, And I got to get back to work for next week, get ready for next week. So keep the same mentality, get ready for work.
James, that play that you were asked about before when you tracked down Javonte Williams on the 2-yard line. From there, if they get the penalty on the spike, they start to move backwards. They only wound up with 3 instead of 7, and you saw the differential in the game. Is that sort of a lesson to be told to keep hustling to the end and, good things will pay off with hard work, that sort of thing?
Yes, it was a big lesson for me because on the sideline, all the older guys, they was excited, their juice, their energy. I just knew it was an important play, but I didn't know, being so young, but everything count, each inch, everything.
And the 4th down, you had think they were going to come at?
I knew they was coming at me. I got beat. I knew they was coming at me again.
How did you manage to pull off that?
Do what coach asked me to do on the phone. Just listen to my coach. That's basically what I do. Listen to my coach. Keep my eyes on my work. And that's what I did. Kept my eyes on my work. And then took 2 steps at the receiver and just looked back for the ball, and I caught the pick. Out of body experience, but it was crazy.
Big moments for a young kid who was undrafted last year, got the attention of the coaching staff, got a position. Now he's on the 53. He played today because of a lot more because of Cam Sutton's injury. Right now, Najee Harris, though, is standing by. He's live. We're going to go there and hear from a man who went over 100 yards for the first time today in his NFL career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just want to I'm more than excited about what everybody's doing in the offensive lineman, especially Coach Clem, and how KG and Dan, because the rookies, they really stepped up. And from week 1 all the way to now, you can see the improvement on tape. I know that, I said a lot that the stat sheet doesn't look like it, but, we all of us running backs could, tell the difference of how much they're improving. And, to come out here and for them to do how good they do, I feel like, this whole press conference should be more just about them, other than me, because they did an amazing job. And I told them that every time that we got on the sideline, even in the game, of how good they were doing. So.
Trey actually just said, that he notices a difference in you and Dan and Kendrick. Y'all are just like smiling bigger. Like you just seem happier after a game like this. Is there a tangible difference? Can you tell?
We won. That's the biggest difference.
The one that you guys have.
Well, I mean, I guess because they really, I think because they knew they did a good job. Not more of me just going over 100, but it's just that all the criticism that you guys know that they've been taking this whole year, this whole offseason really, and then they come out there and they do that against a good team too, and against a good edge rusher, especially Von Miller. And they overcame the odds and they came out there and played like that. I mean, I was smiling for them. Every time I see them smile, I'm just like, man, that's a good feeling right there. It makes you want to even play better and play more.
In Alabama, did you have cramp problems before, and how significant was it for you to have 100 yards?
Did I cramp in Alabama though?
Did you?
Yeah, I cramped a lot. Because, I'm not used to the humidity. I'm from Cali. Ain't no damn humidity over there. Yeah, so I came over there, man, I was passing out almost every other day. Yeah, crazy. But, man, the 100-yard game, though, it's not so more of me. I'm more just excited of how the O-line did, man. Just because, like I said, all the criticism they've been taking, and then, we stuck through it. We never broke, really, in the Steelers. And then I go a lot to their meetings, and I just see stuff that, that they can improve at. And I go in there and I tell them stuff I need to improve at. I tell them what's my read on here. I tell them what we should do. I try to get on the better, we try to be on the same point with each other so we can understand better, I guess, in the run reads. And, I mean, they come out here and they did this against a quality team. So I'm more excited about them than what I did personally.
What's the difference this week? Did you guys scheme it up any different? Or?
No, man. No, we just executed better. That's really what it was. I think we're getting a good feel of what we're good at, and we did a better job of executing. That's what it was.
Do you feel that you have that rhythm and that you think you're going to have success throughout? What point does that come?
It's not really a point. If I just keep doing my job, and you just know that, and they're going to keep doing your job. It's more of a belief thing. Then I mean, good will come out of it. So it's not really a point I could say in the game, but I'm just believing that. All right, if it's this play right here, and we're gonna need this much yards, I'm gonna run behind him. I'm hoping he gets a good push, and that's what happened in all this game. They had a good movement up front. They did a good job of working on the double teams and working up to their blockers. So, man, O-line, Coach Clem, Coach Simo, they did a good job this week.
Why do you think the O-line was better?
Experience. The more games we're playing, the more time that we get to build a better relationship. More times, that you guys criticize us. I guess it's really making them, really want to be better and do better, and it showed it today.
Najee Harris, I like the fact that 5 different times he went back to the offensive line and said it's all about him. They should be up here, not him, and that's a good sign. A sign of a leader, sign of a young kid who understands that, you know, his success is dictated by how they do. And they are getting better week after week after week.
He gets it, right? Najee gets it. And here's the reality. He's going to do as good as that offensive line does. And so he's going to give those guys a lot of credit. And we have to give credit where credit is due. The first month of the season, this offensive line was beat up by the media, Bob, by us. Just talked about how they struggled up front. And they could not win those one-on-one battles. And they're getting better each week, as we suspected. And they're running the ball better now. You can see, what I really love is the physical nature with which they are blocking. They are double teaming, like I talked about earlier, and knocking guys off the ball. Now you're starting to see them steal the grass of the defenders and give Najee an opportunity to get to the line of scrimmage with a head of steam, which he didn't have the first month of the season.
Member of that offensive line, we'll be speaking to you next when we come back live right here at Pittsburgh CW. The Steelers are 2-3 following a 27-19 win over the Denver Broncos. Back in a flash.
Welcome back to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point, presented by BetMGM.
All right, welcome back to the program, everyone. Bob Pompeani, Chris Hoke, and the road ahead, presented by Neighborhood Ford Store, and it starts with a game against Seattle and no Russell Wilson, who's going to be out 4 to 8 weeks now, and so it's Geno Smith coming here. Then a bye, a good opportunity to get healthy, and then you see the rest of the way. Your take quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at that with an optimistic eye. Really, next week, South Seahawks, like you said, Russell Wilson not going to be playing in that game. At Cleveland's difficult one. Chicago, Detroit, winnable games. And Bob, the reality is this. If they continue to run the ball with Najee Harris like they did today, lean on the running game, don't lean on the passing game, you'll keep Ben healthy, keep him confident in the pocket. That's the recipe for victory for this Pittsburgh Steelers team.
And they got to win just about every game in the AFC North. Right now, Trai Turner of that offensive line, speaking to the media.
We've just been cracking at it, and, you know, excuse me, sometimes when you're going, things don't fall your way. Today might have been one of those days where it just kind of fell our way, so it's just something to build upon.
Ben said that they challenged you guys as an offensive line both to step up in run game and pass game. What went into this week's preparation, getting ready for a big game against an opponent? You got Von Miller on you this side.
I said this early in the week on Tuesday or Monday, I believe. It's never playing outside of yourself, and it's never doing more than you can do. I don't go out there and I don't try to play for the center. I don't try to play for the right tackle. I play right guard. And I think as a line, when you play your position and you try not to do too much and you play within the confines of the team, I think good things happen. I think it's just about us pressing and continually staying and keeping our foot on the gas pedal and getting better. This is an ever-evolving league. We put some good stuff on film this week, and now we've given opponents a way to look at us and attack us. So now we got to figure out another way to go out and attack them. So, you know, it's like I said, it's something to build upon, but it's a weekly thing.
Trai, did you share that with any of the younger guys on the line, and do you think they stayed maybe more to themselves today?
Definitely. My words carried through. Weekly, I don't really change my words because what I speak is what I believe. And everything I say, I firmly believe it. So it's just preaching, you know, man, let's keep going, you know. Let's keep pressing. When you feel like you have somebody on their heels, keep going. When you feel like they have you on your heels, you need to push harder. And I think everybody understands that. And I think, like I said, this is a week that we could grow and we could build upon.
All right, Trai Turner right there. You can build upon getting healthy, too. And Zach Banner has been practicing.
He wants to come back.
He wants to come back.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think that Chooks may be the odd man out here. Dan Moore Jr. is playing well now. That left tackle spot, that sack to him wasn't on him. He pushed him deep, Malik Reed. So I don't think that's on Dan Moore. But I believe that you'll see Zach Banner up there playing on the right and letting Chooks be the swing guy.
And Joe Haeg, all of a sudden you got some depth there too. I want to remind you tonight, #1 Cochran Sports Showdown on after the late news, KDKA TV. I'll have Jeff Hathorn, Colin Dunlap, Mark Caboli. We'll talk a lot about this. And the Penguin season's about to begin. We'll have that. A lot of good stuff tonight. Join us for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. For Chris Hoke, Hokey Bro 76. See you again next week.
Great night. Good to see you, Bob.
Seattle coming to town. We'll be talking a lot about that all week right here on CW and also KDK. Have a good afternoon, everyone, and we'll see you next week.